Hello Shogi fans, we've got another video on side pawn picker opening, and we're going to take a look into some of the variations in the early stage of side pawn picker. Now I believe you've seen this position before in my previous video, and the standard move here was gold to 7h. But today what I want to show you is what happens if you push the pawn up to 2d at this position. Now white will take it, and the rook recaptures. Now at this position, white basically has two candidate moves. One is to try to punish that move, and that is making a bishop trade, and then bishop drop to 3c, forking the rook and the silver. Now taking the knight and promoting isn't good for black. Black loses material. So at this position, black can take the knight, but actually this is not over for black. He has a good move here. It's rook to 2h. Saving the rook and simultaneously protects the silver. Now how should white play here? Well, if you're a good player, you can think of this move. Pawn to 2g. Yeah, defender removal. Black can take it because he's gonna lose the silver, but well, he can just swing the rook, and there's nothing left for white to do here. So actually, white's best move is not pawn drop to 2g. Now if dropping the pawn directly to 2g doesn't work, what should you think next? Right, dangling pawn to 2f. Now if white makes a promotion, it's a big trouble for black. So one option for black should be protecting the silver with the knight and simultaneously defend this square, 8f. But then white will swing the rook to 2b. Black will defend by silver to 3h. But here white has a very powerful attack. It's bishop sacrifice and then drop the silver to 2g. And it's all over for black. Now let's get back to where black made a mistake. It's here. He moved the silver here, but this was not a good move. The correct move here is to protect the silver by blocking with the knight. Now white will swing the rook to 2b. You defend by the silver. Now white can't make that bishop sacrifice. He can't take the silver. Well, if he goes ahead with the bishop sacrifice and drop the knight to 2g, well, black is fine. He can save the lance. Knight will promote, but then you have this excellent pawn drop to 2d. Well, white can't take it because of this skewer. So he'll take the lance, but black can just ignore it and take the pawn, or he can also take the promoted knight. White will drop the lance to 2e, but black is fine. Or maybe a knight. So, at this position, where black has moved to silver to defend, actually white has nothing to do to keep attacking. And moreover, black is threatening this bishop drop to 8c and create a horse. So white will have to stop that from happening. And here maybe black can just play slowly, like this for instance, and keep the bishop in his hand. Or I think dropping the bishop to 5f is pretty interesting. Well, white can protect this pawn. If he protects the pawn by the rook, black can drop a pawn. Defender removal. Well, if he goes this way, black can take the pawn, and white takes it. Bishop take 3d, and he can go to this way, attacking the 5g square, but black can just push the pawn up, and white's in a big trouble. The bishop can promote to either of these squares. Alright, so actually, at this position, making a bishop trade and forking the rook and the silver wasn't a very effective attack. So the most recommended move for white at this position is calmly moving the gold to 3d. And now black has two options here. One is to take the side pawn. Well, I'm not sure this is a good one. I mean, I don't think it's really good, because now white can make a bishop trade and drop the bishop to 4e, forking the rook and the pawn. Now rook can go to 2d, attacking the knight, but pawn drop to 2c. Well, it looks like black is in a big trouble, but actually he has an interesting move here. It's bishop drop to 3d, and if pawn takes the rook, the bishop can take the bishop, and making a fork with the rook actually doesn't work. Black can defend the knight. So, after the bishop dropped to 3d, white will take the bishop, and rook takes, and drop the bishop again. And black too drops the bishop again, and bishop takes the rook, and bishop recaptures. Now still, making a fork with the rook doesn't work because of the skewer. So, probably white will prevent the skewer from happening. Black can retreat the bishop, and maybe pawn exchange, and rook to 8d. Well, it may be an equal game, but it doesn't look very good for black anyway. So, at this position, where white has moved the gold to 3b, the most natural move for black might be moving the gold to 7h. And you notice something? Now we're back to the primary book line of side pawn picker opening. Well, you see, it's exactly the same as this position, where both players have moved the golds first, and then black has made the pawn exchange. See? So now, as I showed you in the previous video, white will make the pawn exchange as well, and then black will pick up the side pawn. And we get to this basic position of side pawn picker opening. Alright, so that's all for this lesson. Hope you found this video useful, and we'll see you soon. Goodbye.